New York is one of the most romantic places to live. And one of the most romantic songs about New York, one that reminds people why they might one day aspire to live here too, is Manhattan, the 1950s recording by Ella Fitzgerald. In the song, Ella sings, "It's very fancy on Old Delancey Street, and the subway charms us so when balmy breezes blow." Obviously, it's been a while since she was last down here. And Ella sings, "Tell me what street compares with Mott Street in July." Well, happily for CGTN, Mott Street is now in the heart of Chinatown. But you know, New York is a very different place post-COVID-19 to how it once was. For example, there are reports every day of people leaving the city for the suburbs. There are no tourists here, or very few of them. There's no rush hour in the morning and the afternoon at the railway stations. And it is reported apartment rents are dropping fast. But is that true? Are people fleeing the city?
The short answer is yes, particularly during the peak time of COVID. These upwardly mobile people there are a lot of people in the realm of finance or tech, where they have the ability to work remotely. They have the luxury of working remotely, and they have the resources to do it outside of the city.
But despite the gloomy scenario, one company is betting on New York's housing market bouncing back big time. Common designs apartments and manages them once they're built. It recently raised a further $50 million to provide shared accommodation for people earning between $45,000 and $70,000 a year, a group of people who generally have stayed in cities like New York because, unlike higher-paid people, they can't afford to leave.
Co-living is all about affording a nicer place, a nicer apartment in the neighborhood you want to live in at a more affordable, at a lower price point than a studio or one-bedroom apartment in the neighborhood. The people who are moving into co-living, the people who are living with roommates, the pandemic didn't suddenly make them wealthier. They can't suddenly now afford a studio or one-bedroom apartment where they couldn't before. So the people who were living with roommates prior to COVID are still living with roommates today.
The co-living market may have remained relatively stable, but how long before housing in cities like New York picks up again? While chatting to Joseph, I suggested it may be as long as 10 or 20 years.
I don't have a crystal ball. I can't put a timeline on it, but I don't think it'll be that long. We saw how the city emptied out. It was just surreal. But we've seen it start to come back to life, right? With the restaurants and activities. So yeah, I'm very positive about it.
And Brad agrees. The secret sauce, he says, will be a widely available vaccine.
If you look at historical pandemics, cities have bounced back much faster than that. But we're probably going to project at least one leasing cycle. So if a vaccine is readily available next summer, my prediction is that we will see a recovery in the rental markets in 2022.
Let's return to that song by Ella, written by Rodgers and Hart, that to this day inspires people to want to live here. How does it go at the end? Oh, yeah.
We'll turn Manhattan into an Isle of Joy.
A lot of people, it seems, are banking on it. John Terrett, CGTN, New York.